the answers are inside. Yeah, I am the 21st century superhuman. Now is the time. Come on everyone, let's celebrate. We are the children of the sun. I can see you when I look into your eyes. We are the same, and we are light, yeah, we are one. Here now, hear my ancient prayer and sing along. We are awakening as one, and we can make a difference. Yeah, we can be the change it takes to make the world.
Hi, I'm Cary Ellis, author of 21st Century Superhuman, and this is our 21st Century Superhuman. Today I have with me Bret Warshawsky. You have a little noise in your background, Bret. I think it's outside your window, right? Are you in the Netherlands?
Yep, we're currently hubbing in Rotterdam.
Rotterdam. And Bret is associated with a really cool new software called Noomap. And he and I are going to have just a casual conversation today, which we were going to have anyway, and we decided to just record it and turn it into a show because I think these dialogues that are starting to happen are really going to rock the collective and are going to help us start thinking in new ways that we've never thought before. And so I'm super excited to be here with Bret. And Bret, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what's going on in your head today?
What's going on in my head today?
Well,
there's a lot. There's a lot going on in my heart. I'm pretty inspired the last couple of days. I'm feeling really happy and excited, and therefore, thankfully, out of my head a little bit.
That's awesome. You're a very heart-centered person. I get that. I was just asking you before the show, I can't even remember how we met, you know, and what's so cool is we have this collective of people that are kind of coalescing around the planet, and so many people waking up, so many people stepping out of the old matrix, the old system that's kind of like a box that says you have to, you know, work a certain way and succeed in a certain way, and we're creating all these new innovative ideas. And I say there's this whole younger generation who's come in with tools that are kind of like part of you already, and it's so exciting. I just can't even tell you how exciting it is. And just this last week I did a show with Thomas Miller, who's an Ethereum consultant, and he's an amazing whiz kid online. And one of the very interesting things we were talking about is new currency. And I think for me, this is a kind of hub of this conversation, that we have so many people who've stepped out of the matrix. And I'm getting chills as I say that. So I'm getting my own confirmation that we are stepping out of the matrix, but we need new ways to access the currency of our own abundance and this co-creative field that we're operating in. And I think you have some keys to that. So why don't you tell us a little bit? I know I've also met Andrea, who's your partner, and she's super cool also. And I know she's very talented. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you're involved in.
Yeah. What am I involved in? I'm involved in what we've been calling the Emergent Synergistic Network. Nice. You know, it's not an official name. It's just the coalescing that you're talking about. I mean, that's what I'm really involved in.
Nice.
Being a co-creator with planet Earth and the universe and whatever amount of dimensions there may exist. I've heard 26, I've heard 11. I'm partial to pi, but so I mean that's what I'm involved with, and
infinite fractals of creation, right?
Yeah. So because I'm involved in infinite fractals of creation, I'm part of building a community that's building a platform that involves using the internet as a fractal technology. It's pretty much aligned with the people that are doing Ethereum and all the cutting edge stuff. I mean, what we're all looking at here is building a new internet. Probably from every aspect. You would hear what's interesting about this, Noomap is a community, first of all. It's a community of healing, and being on a journey together, an intentional community, an integral community, artists and scientists and mystics and accountants and healer, all sorts of people, the wider network itself. The co-creative, we call it Synergetic Co-creation, which I'll share a little bit about. And the holonic technology is sort of being held by three of us, myself, a young guy, 29, named Chris Larcombe, and my wife, Andrea Harding. We sort of co-founding stewards, or whatever we want to call it, of Noomap.
Yeah, I heard a video with Chris presenting, I think in New York or somewhere.
London.
London.
Yeah. London.
Oh, it was amazing. I was like, and I have to tell you, as I listen to these conversations, our science tells us that we have 97% junk DNA. And I know that somewhere in our history, some of our DNA was disconnected. So maybe we wouldn't be too smart or too, innovative or, have a voice for ourselves. But what's happening, and we only use, 10% of our brain. I mean, so
I don't know. I think Chris Larcombe probably uses about 93% of his brain.
Too. And also UCLA studies say the younger generations coming in have more activated DNA. So I think this is all an old story. It's part of us operating in this old paradigm of being, of suppressing our creativity so that we can be part of basically a machine or a mechanism that's part of the materialistic culture, and what we're ready to do. And what happens when you're talking and you're using these words, I can feel my brain just tickling and laughing and saying, wow, there's some of those brain cells that haven't been used that are just hungry to be used. And part of my DNA that's hungry to be used for a kind of co-creation that maybe has been on planet Earth for a while. And we're here to kind of reactivate that for ourselves. Do you need to move I wonder if it might be good for you to move somewhere else, because there is kind of a lot of noise out of that window. I guess we get a choice of light or noise.
Yeah, pretty much. That's going to be my situation.
Yeah.
I have another one. Hold on.
Okay.
I have another option, but that could turn into the signal, but we'll try it. I might have a Wi-Fi signal issue, but maybe we'll have the trifecta here.
How about just right where you are? That's pretty good. You got some.
No, it was just as loud.
Okay.
There is light in here. We'll see if the signal stays echoey, but how about that?
That's good. It's a little quieter, because I want to hear what you have to say. I think it's absolutely fantastic and important and key to these conversations that are coming up.
Well, it adds to the mystique moving into this room of the story of the Noomap little Trinity trifecta of Chris, Andrea, and myself. I'm now in the back room in a basement under a little cake bakery. Oh my God. That's where we live currently.
It's a little light behind your head and a little dark on your face. I don't know if you could turn around in the direction. Because it's nice.
Get my glasses.
Yeah, that's really good right there. Perfect. You know what?
With all the shelves in the background.
This is the seat of the pants operation here. I mean, we're all doing it from wherever we can with little resources. I love it. It's just.
How about that?
That's good. It's just very real and very nice. So I know we kind of interrupted your train of thought there a little bit, but I just want to say.
I never lose my train of thought, Cary. I'm superhuman. I've got this gift where I can interrupt people 100 times a second and then bring them back to where they were, or myself. Isn't it great?
I love it. And I just am so grateful that we've met, and, that through one of the things that several friends of mine say, and Thomas Miller mentioned, is the wisdom of the collective, or the wisdom of the group. And among all of us, we have the answers. When we come together, we have the answers. And we have to move out of that old system that says it's for me, I'm going to go do it, for my own success. And when we start putting all of our wisdom together for the greater good, we're going to come out with something amazing.
Yeah. What else is there to add to that? I mean, that's seems to be the part of the mission in front of us.
Yes. So you were kind of on the trail of telling us about this sort of emerging new collective information process.
Oh, right. Right. So what I was calling, yeah, the blob, that's what I'm involved in. And then I was sort of talking a little bit more about Noomap, being a word for all those things like community and integral designers, because most people keep thinking we're just a software. And if we were just a software startup, we'd be in Silicon Valley doing all that thing, but that's not what we're about. It's just one tool. Yeah, it's just one tool that we, holonic technology based on holons, which I'll explain in a second, at least an overview. Holonic technology, meaning spiritual technology, and scientific technology and artistic technology, is what we actually, the three of us, have seeded and specialized in. And Chris, so everyone knows, is the person who came up with Noomap, the software version, part of that, when he left 2 years into his PhD for artificial intelligence, and master's degree in adaptive and evolutionary systems, which is why he started building a holistic, internet meta level kind of system.
I totally have chills. Beautiful.
Yeah. And the new guy on our team, Nico, was 4 years into a PhD in neural networks and AI, and like an expert in psychology and a misfit like the rest of us. So that's been great. And Nico is the Ethereum guy who brought the passion for Ethereum to us. It's interesting because Chris kind of resisted it for a while, or just wasn't interested in learning about blockchain and just didn't resonate. So he didn't look in, and we couldn't find the right person that met him at the right level to actually allow that in. But Nico is amazing. So we're getting closer, which is why I was excited that you had spoken to Thomas. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to that yet. But Nico is just completely passionate, which is number one, about it. So it's not really about, does it need to be done or should it be a Noomap? It's that's his passion. So we integrated doing the same type of thing. So Noomap, the software, is in prototype, and we've been in research and development, really, if you look at it more from a distance or outside, and developing the core team. First of all, Andrea, Chris, and I came with our own visions. This integration and getting rid of egos, or actually integrating egos and being healthy and working together and synergizing, that is really trying to happen on this huge macrocosmic level. We're basically prototyping and trying to embody that ourselves for the past 3 years. I just realized the other day it's really about Andrea, Chris, and I cohering, despite I'm married to Andrea. I mean, I met her as part of this journey, so we got married. We had a spiritual ceremony. We're not legally married. So that was what's been going on for 3 years. A lot of people have said, why isn't Noomap at beta or further? And we're like, we don't even have a software engineer. Chris is an artist and an inventor who can code. So he's done a brilliant thing, but it's not his joy to deliver a software. It's actually Andrea's, one of her big passions is to deliver software, but she's stuck with two, rebellious, bipolar, crazy people on her team, in the core, that had to bring the other things. So it's been us cohering so we can communicate to the wider community and bring them in. So it's a synergetic situation, and we can finally let go of that into that bigger picture, which we always have been interested in doing, which is why we never legalized it or put it in a container that it couldn't be taken out of. So we're super excited about Nico. Three of us are attending We Share Fest next week, so we'll probably bump into some new friends in the blockchain realm of things. Definitely want to connect with Thomas, and in a couple of months, just hope some little taste of just a little sort of prototypey looking thing that's like what happens when the Noomap consciousness, I would say, not the actual software, meets Ethereum, which is the more exciting part, because we're a consciousness. The three of us have seeded something like this Trinity energy, and it's like, it's not ours, we're channeling it, and we're happy to steward it, and it's just our passion to do it. The new internet and Noomap can be used for any purposes, like whatever, psychology and marketing and selling books or having fun, but our particular passion is the systematic whole systems transformation of the planet, and going from flat earth to round earth to holonic earth. So
Bret, help me bridge this for our regular listeners, because I get what you're talking about, because I've had my mind in this for quite a while now. And it's sort of how I think, it's how I'm operating in the world. It's what the core of my soul really wants to help coalesce. I end up being a connector, so I want to really help coalesce this movement and bring it to the minds and hearts of people, so they can sort of get what's going on, so we can sort of add it to the collective journey that's happening right now. And as people get it and understand it and begin exploring it, we can begin bringing it into the greater field. So, and one of the cool things also that Thomas Miller said is when you bring 7,000 people in to get a project done, you end up with a lot more tools, resources, and capability to bring it forward than you do if you just have a handful. And so one of the projects I talked to you about is Virtual Earth Village, which is a project I've kind of developed at various phases over the years, and is as just websites and then taken back down. It's down right now, but I'm thinking of moving it into this system with Noomap and blockchain with Ethereum. But another subject that was brought up to me is, well, Cary, why don't you just do it by taking all of the things that already exist, like Facebook, YouTube, you know, and just Skype, and just put them all on a main hub and then let people interact, you know, that way. So I'm curious how you would respond to that.
That's an amazing question. And I've been thinking a lot about it lately. And I think I actually have some value to add here. I'll try to give a little bit of context without going too far. Okay. And maybe a little more bullet pointy instead of conversational.
Yeah,
Number one,
keeping it so regular people can understand.
Well, to answer your question, it's important. It's nice for people to know that, number one, before the last few years, I had no background in technology, like websites, internet, social network. I was like everybody else. So I was like the people I'm talking to. I love the internet, but I don't know why. I don't know how it works. I don't really care. I don't think about those kind of things. I love physics and science and consciousness and spirituality and all that, but I never thought about the internet from that perspective. So working with people in this field, thinking these things is completely new to me. I've also had the revelation last month or so that I could use Facebook and YouTube and other things to basically, I already declared the new revolution started last night on my first episode, so I'm already in there. We're in the new paradigm. The revolution has peacefully begun as far as Bret and his universe has called out. So I do believe it can easily be done. Well, not easily. It can be done and should be done until the other tools are ready. There is the other side of that is I've used a lot of it, like Lumio, High-Low, and Noomap is completely in that category of I've used that. And to be fair, none of them can do what the niche groups of us need to be done. The way we think and the way we create in the time we do in the quantum manifestation, the things we're thinking, only tool built by consciousness like Noomap and other people could handle that level of co-creation and energy. It's a particle accelerator for consciousness, Noomap, as far as I'm concerned. How fucking awesome is that?
That is awesome. That is freaking awesome.
That's where we're going, and we have to keep our eye on the prize. So, yeah. But Noomap is not ready yet as far as being reflected in the technology because we haven't had the resources or the team. You know, so we're building that field and building our coherence as a group and getting to meet Ethereum and everyone else in the larger field. To go back to another question, someone asked me, how are we interacting with other people? So I'm having a lot of fun right now on Facebook and YouTube, and I just made my first video and realized if I got a team of Facebook experts together and YouTube, like that would be my next move, because I've seen them. I was thinking too limited, which was I laughed at myself, you know, with Facebook and Twitter, like they're the bad guys. You know, I never had an issue with Facebook in the sense I met my wife through Facebook, you know, and I meet all of my friends through Facebook. So I've never been anti-Facebook, or we just want to make, it's like what's right with Noomap, not what's wrong with Facebook or what's wrong with Twitter or anything like that. So the people that are, you know, saying that to you, they have a fair point, and that's what we do. We do our best, and we try to use the tools that we have. And the complement to that is those people that tell us to do that don't yet understand how we think and what we're doing.
I just got a big gust of wind through here as you said that. I always say the matrix responds when we are raising the frequency, the energetic frequency. So I got a confirmation on that.
Yeah, so we're doing it. I mean, for the people that have asked you, we're doing it. Of course, we could master those tools more, but I just right now don't have the passion or interest to master them. But recognizing the inherent value of Facebook or YouTube and what I've been missing because I was being ignorant or judgmental or whatnot is powerful. was a powerful move for me, which also, of course, informs what I'm doing with Noomap and the other things even more. And tomorrow, if Mark Zuckerberg woke up and decided he wanted to do something even more different and make Facebook like Noomap and Ethereum, or hire all of us or fund everything, then Facebook overnight would be the platform of like, planetary code, because it already is got so many people and it's useful and it's helpful. It's just how we use it. So that's where I stand on sort of all that. Did that answer your question? Is there any on that?
I'm going to ask a random dark question. But first of all, let me just say the reason it came up about, I was talking about apps and, that I'd like to have Virtual Earth Village be like an app. And my friend, who's really a brilliant coder, said, well, why don't you use the apps that already exist, and you've got a really big organization that's already creating security, already creating, functionality and the capability, and, such as we just said, YouTube, Facebook, etc. So my dark question, I don't even think in these terms much, but there's a lot of talk about, especially with Snowden and, how maybe, something like Facebook and our data and all of these things have been co-opted by, the powers that were, whatever we want to call them, who are now getting ready to transform themselves on planet Earth. But, how would you throw that into the mix?
Well, of course, that comes up in these circles or these fractals to varying degrees. If I were to speak for the field, I would say these that I'm around, I'm not going to even tap into the bigger field. I'm going to do that in a second. The field that I'm around and the larger ripple effect in these circles generally has these conversations. No one, they come up with the same answers, right? Own your own data. We have to do the best we can with the information and the technology resources we have. You have to be the change you want to see. We can't worry about what other, those kind of things come up in all their flavors and variations. And because there doesn't seem to be a right answer, I can sit here and tell you all the answers I've heard to that, but everyone is truly doing the best they can with the understanding they have and what they know about the universe and themselves and all that. From my perspective, the logical conclusion of who am I, and we co-create reality and we're all gods, or any version of that you want to choose, or we're quantum. The logical conclusion of that is I'm a spiritual philanthropist, and I'm bringing a world that is peaceful and abundant, and I'm going to keep doing what I do and have faith in God, for lack of a better word. I like using that in these circles because people will give me arguments about what I mean and God and all that. But I believe in God, or I have faith in God. So we're doing the best we can. And I guess it's going to be one of those situations where until the men in black show up, or, someone literally points a gun in my head and says, you can't do that or something, I'll have to, make a new choice or
cancel that thought.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, with the hyperdimensional being, I don't have to cancel the thought, because it's actually like I'm not actually intending that. Perfect. That law of attraction piece is like a new world order kind of thing.
I got you.
Just because you have the thought, if I focus on it every day, all day, of course. But it's not in my thought. It's just knowing that that's what's out there. That's what people think.
I'll tell you what, Bret, these kind of conversations just rock my soul. And I hope that we begin to pull in, the people in our audience who are, who have this interest and who are, generating new thought with this. Is just fantastic. I love hearing you speak. It just makes me so excited. I feel like there is such a collective here at this point who has a vision for how to move forward in a really productive way that can serve the greater good of all. And I'm so grateful for that. So thank you so much for sharing the thoughts from your mind and heart, because they're really, really valuable. And I hope we have many more of these conversations. Let me toss another thought out into the soup that I loved, that Thomas Miller and I were talking about, which was, so we develop Virtual Earth Village and we develop our own currency. And the currency would have to do with how people are exchanging energy within the system. Personally, I'd love to see us, a la Michael Tellinger's Ubuntu movement, move into a world without money. And I know when I first heard that, it was almost incomprehensible to me. It took me about a year of just processing it in my mind to think, without money? How would we do that? You know, because we literally have been in this program for thousands and thousands of years. And I call it a program because it is basically like computer software program. And some of the, what I've been talking about lately is some of the basically the stories we've been told are, money gives you power. Money gives you the things you need to survive. If you don't have enough money, you will suffer. And I say that those are all part of an old construct that was built in a materialistic culture outside of a recognition of how to access the abundance that is continually flowing to us from source. And I think we're in a time of bridging, and it may take some currencies to bridge us from living in that pure abundance, to bridge us from the old monetary system. And I think there's a lot of people kind of working on ways to come up. It's not necessarily my forte. I'm not a good numbers person or math person, but conceptually, I know so many people who have moved out of the old system and don't want to go back to some kind of meaningless work and still have to, in this current world, you know, pay their rent or buy their food. And I think we're just on the edge, I can just taste it, of cultivating systems that can take us beyond that, and have people really living in abundance instead of like poverty or where's my next meal going to come from or how am I going to pay rent next month. So I'm curious what you think about all of that. It's very interesting.
Well,
yeah,
the money
Bret,
topic comes up.
Bret, I want to tell you this, because my videos do weird things when we're pulling in energy from other systems, and your head has just been nodding really fast. You'll have to watch it. There's a vibe coming through the video of higher frequency energies. So anyway, I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I noticed yesterday watching myself, I said I made that first video. I noticed that I act kind of autistic and strange when I listen and talk, and I was like, okay with that. I've seen other people say, don't talk with your hands or this, that. I'm like, actually, when I watched myself last night, because I was really in the flow, I was like, that's just how I listen. That's why I'm making weird faces or like, you know, doing this or like looking over here. It's because I'm actually listening. And it looks kind of funny. And I nod my head a lot. Yeah. So it's interesting. Thank you for pointing that out.
Creative juice from multi-dimensional levels.
Yeah, right on. So, I mean, the money thing obviously has come up for everybody in every situation, under every context, from those of us who have had money, who have never had money, who have had resistance to money. Some of us have not. Some of us have had money. Some of us have credit cards. Some of us have jobs. Some of us never worked. And it continually has gone on a spiral of we trust. It always comes back to trust. Our friend Nico here that I mentioned, he just quit his job a month ago. He's really proud of himself. Like, he stepped out of the matrix, but he keeps asking us like how we're going to make money 3 months from now and all. We're like, Nico, you know that scene in Fight Club where he pulls the wheel off the road? Like, Noomap is Teilhard de Jardin, dude. And you've just got in the car. It's too late, my friend. I'm really sorry, but like, you're going to be abundant, but you're also going to have to trust beyond trust. Like, so we've gone through all those spirals, and we can talk about that another time too, because it's so much stuff. But everything you've heard, you would expect that we've gone through that, but we are evolving our own understanding of that over the last 3 years, and it is quickening and reaching a tipping point of some kind.
Just to relate this to, because you haven't listened to the video I did with Thomas Miller, and you'll get some bits of this in that, which are really good. And people can find my videos on Naturally Better TV if they search for naturallybetter.tv if they search for 21st Century Superhuman. Also 21stcenturysuperhuman.com is my website. They can just click on shows. I'm usually a couple behind of getting them up there, but I try and keep them all listed there. Because that is a real pivotal video, I think, that I did with him. And the biggest thing that we know that we have in our culture right now that we can relate the discussion he and I were having to is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin came up as a digital currency, created a bunch of value or represented a bunch of value, and it's gone up and down. It's been on this journey. And he and I talk about that a little bit, but more what he talks about, and this guy is really brilliant at this idea. And I want all of us to start getting together and bringing these ideas together, because together we're going to come up with something that none of us can come up with alone. So his discussion was that, for instance, if you're really into dolphins, you can have a currency.
I love dolphins.
That represents dolphins, you know, or you can have a currency that represents love, or I'd like to have a currency that represents the Virtual Earth Village, or whatever we call it. And he said, like, say you have a currency, you're putting together a collective apartment complex. And so people can buy into the apartment complex, and in exchange, they get currency for it. Somebody can come and be a worker on the apartment complex, and in exchange, they get currency for that. It's sort of like owning shares in a system, but they're digital, you know, and I can see us sort of beyond that, being able to exchange with one another at a level that we make.
Here's the good news. Here's the good news, Cary.
Okay.
Here's the good news. We're obviously talking about similar things, and it's the same type of thoughts that go on in the minds of people. But the good news is this: we're going to hit contributionism way quicker than people think, in my opinion.
I love it.
Currencies and tokens are completely capitalistic paradigm. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great. And we are on board with that if that's what it is calling for. But in the quantum world, we can collapse timelines much quicker. We're in a particle accelerator for consciousness here. Just by having conversations, we're doing thought experiments like Albert Einstein. You know, when he thought of relativity, he thought of the elevator. He didn't need a mathematician to prove that that was going to be logically consistent within the paradigm he was working, because it's not true for everything. But just the beautiful thought experiment actually knew. He didn't need a math equation for that. So I think we're basically doing that with all of our focuses on visions and intentions and things like that. So obviously we're down with that. And people that think that's the right thing to do have to be able to be empowered to do that, because then they're just going to get frustrated and they won't be adding their genius to the mix. Now what I see is, like, see a Noomap, every holon may end up being a currency. Because a holon is a skill or a resource or a passion or a dream or an intention. And you don't really trade them for exchanging. It's a game.
Right. You know, and you may understand gaming better than I do too, because I didn't grow up with gaming.
Not really. I'm learning now. Well, I played Atari and Nintendo, so I'm 41. So
I played Pac-Man.
Well, we both play Pac-Man. We have that in common. So.
Yeah. So, you know, I tell you what, personally, I don't like the idea that I'm going to have to come up with money or with currency as a representation of who I am or what
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the event horizon is here.
Because who we are as these creative, juicy, dynamic, ever-flowing beings it's life. And I'll tell you, I found, I also have a video that you might want to watch on these scrolls I was led to in Peru. I believe they're a galactic download. It's called The Message of the Alpha and Omega, The Message of the Lamb of God of the Fifth Book of Revelation. That's good.
That's good. People keep asking me if Noomap is in beta, and we keep arguing alpha beta. I said it's fucking an alpha omega. It's done. It's completely done and completely unfinished.
And see, I see alpha and omega as the two fields that Cash is bringing together for plasma energy, which is magnetic and gravitational, or we can call it the masculine and feminine polarities. We can call it the two polarities that call material into creation in this world. Now I've got a siren going by, and
keep it simple, yeah.
Affirming what we're talking about, you know, from the Matrix. So, and there's 2 new Matrix movies coming out too. Those should be really fun.
No.
Yes. I just read it yesterday.
Shut up. They're making more?
Yeah, 2 more.
Wait till I start working with them.
Well, they better have this new stuff in them, because this is what will spread it.
Well, they have to, but I would say let's have the intention because Ethereum's a pretty big network and all that. Let's get a meeting with the Wachowski brothers. Not really to like they owe us something or they have
related to them.
Are you? See, like it's not like they have to help. I would just, if they could just give us a couple hours so they can figure out what little things they could do to help, because they're gonna love. I know what I'm doing, and I'm just like a peon compared to some of the other geniuses I've met.
You just need to change the spelling of your name and tell them you're their long lost cousin.
That is it. I should probably do it legally. I should just do it legally, like just to show them how funny and serious I am.
Yeah.
And then I can actually show them. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, for me, I believe I can make movies based on string theory, like reality. You know, I'm moving beyond the quantum. Like, I mean,
right.
If you look at coders, they write strings, right? Strings of code.
Right.
They're string theorists. Instead of working for Apple or IBM or the government or black operations, they're building social architectures and real virtual reality, not some glasses you put on, but a world that is so fucking awesome.
Right.
That you don't need to put on glasses to have a good time.
Right.
You can. I mean, I'm sure it's fun, but like you don't actually, there'll be so much fun to have that you probably wouldn't even think about it.
I have so much excitement and hope and beyond hope, you know, knowing that this vision is going to come into being. And even just talking to you today has elevated that. So I want to say thank you. And we've used up just about an hour. Yeah. So we might just call it good as far as so people have, you know, something.
That's great. My big point earlier was to tell you that if you hear What is Noomap from Andrea and Chris, you'll hear a completely different story. So all three of us alone would be brilliant, actually.
Right. It's okay. You know, it's okay. Because
no, it'd be brilliant if you talk to them individually.
Right.
It'd be a brilliant trilogy. We can do the first three matrices all in one time.
Yeah. Go ahead and set it up. I'll do whatever. We can do as many of these as we want, because for me, stirring this conversation in the collective and your head is going, I am not kidding. I know we're bringing through multidimensional energies, and just thank you so much for being who you are. It's just wonderful to hear these thoughts and words coming out, and we're going to stir the pot and bring forth a knowing in the collective that we can live by our own abundance. And how we do that, I don't know how it will take place, but you've just encouraged me that I don't even need to know how, that it's going to come through the fractals of time and space. We will change all timelines. We will shift this reality into one that is good for Mother Gaia, good for all of the creatures in creation, and good for all of us. Are you still there, Bret? You're frozen up.
Yeah. Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. Well, I'll just thank you, Cary, for encouraging me to speak out. And I'm often chasing people to do things, and it's really nice when other people ask me to be talked to and show up and make schedules and all that. And you've been holding space for many of these things for much longer than I have. And much honor to you. And I guess I'll leave this conversation with saying Noomap is a tool for change. So buckle your seatbelts.
Oh, yeah. And whatever information you want to give me, I will put below the video, ways people can connect with you, even if it's just on Facebook for starters, but whatever you have. And onward and forward. And I just want to thank everybody. You can find my work at 21stcenturysuperhuman.com, more videos like this. And please join us in the conversation. Share it with your friends. Inspire yourself to live from your heart and the truth of your being. And we are now awakening in a new world. Much love to all. Many blessings. See you, my brother.
Bye. Love you.